Hi, it's Lee from colouringqueen.net, and this week I thought we'd have a colour and chat. So I'm colouring from Maria Trolle's Nightfall colouring book, and I'm colouring from this book because it's part of my Maria in May colour along, where I'm sort of celebrating the artwork of Maria Trolle. And I have all of her books in either the English edition or the Swedish edition, or sometimes even the Dutch edition, which is this one. The English edition for this one is called Nightfall, I think, unless I'm got myself a bit confused, which is so easy to happen. So I hope you're all doing really well today. I'm doing well. It's a beautiful day here in Brisbane. It's not too hot. It's like perfect Goldilocks weather for me. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, and it's just a really lovely day. So I went out this morning and I planted a few more seeds and weeded the garden a bit. Unfortunately, I'm planting the seeds and Buddy is running them over and knocking all the plants down. But we waited so long for a dog that whenever he knocks over my flowers and tramples them and gets in my flower beds and just, kills all the work that I've done, I just think, oh, well, I was so miserable when we didn't have a dog, and, so if he kills the plants off, I'm not really bothered. I mean, I would obviously like them to stay because there's so many pretty flowers that I planted and bulbs and whatnot, but better to have him and have his company. So I wanted to let you know why I haven't uploaded any videos. I've had some people ask me, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Basically, I've got a lot going on at the moment. Uh, the other week, as some of you may know, Buddy, our border collie, I can't talk today. He has epilepsy, and unfortunately, the other week when I had all these giant plans of things that I was going to upload, he had what's called a cluster seizure. So he had like three bad seizures within a 24-hour period, and you know, he has been recovering quite well from them with a new increase in his medication, but I don't know what happened this time. I'm wondering if like some chemicals that we were using, like decking oil and stuff, had a bad effect on him, if maybe he smelt that. But he didn't sort of get over these seizures for like 3 days, and he just wasn't himself. So I was keeping him company throughout that time and looking after him, and really I couldn't leave his side because every time I left him, I'd come back and just sort of check to see if he was breathing and if I needed to take him to an emergency vet or, to get like a shot. So, yeah, I spent 3 days sort of trying to, work out if he was back to normal and if I needed to take him to emergency care and things like that. So it was all pretty stressful, and I had thought that when David was home, I might be able to get some things done, but we ended up both just staying with him and just sort of monitoring him and seeing that he was okay. So it took about 3 days for him to come out of it, and then he was back to his normal self. But yeah, he's always sort of come back to normal after a few hours, so that was an experience. But I'm hoping it's a one-off, and I'm hoping that maybe it was the smell of these oils that has set off his seizures and sort of set off a bad reaction. That's the only variable that I can think of. So anyway, I hope we don't have to go through that again because it was really stressful. When you've got pets or children or anyone really that you worry about when their health changes, it's really something that you don't want to experience every day. I know some of you do and you live with it, and I don't know how some of you cope. I really don't. I'd just be a mess. But obviously some people have had a lot longer to practice dealing with those things and have developed their own coping mechanisms. But yeah, it's very hard when you've got someone with health issues or a little pet especially, you know, a dog or something like that. They can't tell you what's wrong. So Millie was giving him a lot of attention and, you know, making sure that he was getting some love. So anyway, he's fine now, so no need to worry, and he's back to normal, thank goodness. And we went for a big play in the park yesterday. We went to a big park that we have nearby, and it's got like 3 lakes in it. And so he went and walked around all the lakes, and there's ladies there that do some New Zealand dances, like Maori dances of a morning. And so there's all the music and all the ladies dancing, and we love it. You know, we love watching them and listening to them, and they do such an amazing dance. I mean, looks like a real workout. I think I'd be having a heart attack after 5 minutes, but yeah, Buddy loves watching them. We all do. And so we walked around the 3 lakes and 2 lakes and a puddle. Anyway, and through this great big grove of trees, and Buddy got to play with sticks, which he loves that game. And he met a few dogs. They were a lot bigger than him. One was this huge golden retriever, and it was massive. It was like a big human. I think the owner of it would be using it as a cuddle buddy during winter, but I think it actually might be too hot because it was huge and really fluffy, gorgeous dog. Buddy really liked playing with him, and he met lots of dogs to play with, which is always nice because he's such a friendly dog. He just loves children, and he loves other dogs, and yeah, he's just so friendly. I think he loves playing with kids more than other dogs. He meets dogs and then he goes, yeah, okay, see you later. But kids, he just adores. I can't take him for a walk when school's on because he wants to run over and talk to all the kids on their way to school. But it's good that he's so friendly and so sweet. So what else? So we had that problem with Buddy, and that took up a lot of time, and so I didn't upload anything. I was too busy thinking about him, and this is just a hobby channel. It's Buddy and David is far more important to me than putting out videos every week. It's much more important to spend time with, especially Buddy when he's not feeling well. So I didn't put out the videos, and then I had all these plans to put out the videos once Buddy was better, and I got caught up in a project, which is, it's just should be my tagline for this channel, because I get involved in little projects and they turn out to be bigger than what I expected, and they just become my prime focus. So this little project was a home project. David and I bought this gazebo off Facebook Marketplace, and I think it was last year. So it's been sitting in our side of our house for the last year or so, and I want to make that area an area where Buddy can play with sticks. So I call it a cricket pitch because it's like 20 metres long, and I've got some of that fake grass because nothing will grow under that. It's a sort of shady area to put down, and I can throw sticks to him and he won't have to go outside to the park where he might run off and go onto the road if I take him off his lead, because he gets overly excited sometimes. So he can play with sticks there. So I got the gazebo out and we worked out where we were going to put it by the pool, and then we thought we'd better actually either paint it or stain it or something like that. So we tried a few little experiments on it, and we put some black paint on it, and we put some stain on some parts and some oil on another part. Anyway, the black paint looked awful. It's a really nice gazebo with two built-in beds and like the canvasy stuff around the side so that you're all nice and protected. It's from Pottery Barn, so it was quite expensive. if you bought it new, but we got it off Marketplace pretty cheap. So the black paint didn't look any good, and the oil that we used didn't look any good. So we thought we'll buy some stain and we'll put that on and make it look, you know, Merbau, which is a common timber for outdoor furniture. So I got the stain and I put on quite a lot. Anyway, it looked really fake and really awful. You know how sometimes things just don't look nice? And so the only way to get it off was to sand all of the thing and get the stain off. So luckily I love my little mousy sander, so I was out with my mousy sander sanding off all this stain that I just put on. And I'd blown my budget buying the stain too, so I wanted to use that money to buy some colouring books, but I spent it all on stain, which seems such a ridiculous thing to do, but anyway. So anyway, I sanded that, and of course once you sand one bit, the rest of it looks bad anyway. So then I had to sand the whole gazebo with my little mousy sander, which took hours and hours to sand because there's so many little different parts of it, and you know, all the rest of it. You know what it's like when you start a project. So, and excuse my voice, I've got a bit of sinus at the moment and I'm very stuffed up and sore throaty. So anyway, I sanded the whole thing and it took ages and we got the stain all off. So then we decided with our little experiments on what colour to use linseed oil to colour it and protect it. And man, that stuff smells so bad, and I'm sure it's what gave Buddy his cluster seizures, because he was doing so well with his increased medication, but the smell of it just went all through the house and it's just terrible. It gave me shocking migraines because I'm rubbing it on all day, and you had to do like 3 coats and really rub it in, and there's so many parts and so many fiddly bits to the gazebo, so many like little slats and things that you have to stick your fingers in to try and get this oil all over. And you know, some parts it needs more oil because it's not soaking in enough, and anyway, so that took me 3 days, and then plus the day spent sanding it, staining it and taking the stain off and redoing it. So it turned out to basically take up the whole week, and then Buddy got sick, so it's just like, I can't win. And then of course the next week happened and I thought, well, I'll get to catch up now. Buddy's better, the gazebo's done, I'll do another coat on it one day, but you know, not now. It's done enough to be put in the garden. And so and of course, you know, all the time we're trying to get ready for David's family to come up. And so the next week I get a thing that I had applied for to change my qualifications from the state that we used to live in to the state that we currently live in. And this is a bit of a process. You've got to get a certificate, and it's got an expiry date on it for 30 days, so you've got to lodge it in the new state within that time, and you've got to pay quite a bit of money, and you've also got to have some other documents, including your degree and other certificates that you were given at the time. So ever since we moved here, I haven't been able to find my degree. I've seen it a few times, you know, over the years, and it was in the cylinder that it was given to me in, or posted to me, and in it was my license or my qualifications, if you like. They're both in the same cylinder, and I've seen them a couple of times. I remember the box that they went in, and I remember all the other things in that box, but I haven't been able to find it. And I thought, well, you know, I've put in for my qualifications. If I don't change over within the next 30 days, I'm actually going to lose my qualifications. I'm going to have to reapply, and it's going to be a whole drama to do that. So I've got to find this cylinder that's got my qualifications in it. And I know everyone probably just puts their things in a frame and frames it and puts it on the wall. But I've never framed any of my qualifications. For many years, they used to sit under the cutlery tray in the kitchen drawer. So I'm just not a frame your and hang your qualifications type of person. And I know lots of people are, so no judgments. I'm just more of a, chuck it in a box, or, keep it in the cylinder it was posted in, or put it in the kitchen drawer, which was where one of my degrees lived for many years. So anyway, I need to find these, my certificate and the degree before this letter that I've paid money for actually expires. There's a real deadline, and there's also a deadline for changing it over. Everything's got a time frame, and there's no exceptions, there's no discretion to move those dates. And so I thought once I applied my mind to where this cylinder could be, that it would happen. I would be able to find it. But in a 2-story house, I have spent days looking for it. And it's only a small house, even though it is 2 stories, it's only very, very small. Part of the problem is that we've still got stuff in boxes downstairs that were never unpacked, because we've been waiting to do our downstairs and sort of make it into a family room, rumpus room type environment. So anyway, all these boxes and things that have never been opened since we moved here, I've had to go through and open. And I know which box it was in, and I know the other items that were in there. And that box and those items are nowhere in this house. I have gone through everything. We've got no attics, we've got nothing. And I have been so sick with worry and stressed, and my anxiety level is just through the roof, because, these are super important documents to me, and I can't find them, and I've got a deadline. And so even though I've gone through all of the house, I've taken boxes out, I've had things on the driveway, I've gone through every single nook and cranny of this house, I just couldn't bear to give up. So every day I'd go back through it all, because sometimes, you sort of can't see what's right in front of you, and sometimes it might just be sitting there and you can't actually see it, even though it's right in front of you. So I've gone over and over through the house. Every day I'd wake up and I'd just obsess about it and spend the whole day pulling apart boxes and looking at things, and every single thing, like going from room to room. I mean, every room has been looked at, every single thing. I've even taken out the bathroom drawers looking for it, and I was half tempted to take out the walls and look behind the walls in case it had got stuck in, ceiling insulation when we were insulating the rooms or something like that. But the thing that gets me is all of the other items that I know that were in that box, they're not here either. So I'm kind of thinking either we've had some tradesmen over the time and they've, maybe inadvertently thrown it out in the skip, or, maybe we inadvertently threw the whole box that's got those things in it, as well as the other household things, out into the bin. That's all I can think of, because there is no sign of my qualifications and no sign of any of the other things in the box, which it's just so devastating to me. I nearly cried, but, I restrained myself. But so frustrating. So because they're original documents, I've had to go and get stat decks done to say that they've been lost. And then I've had to pay a bucket load full of money to go and get them replaced, and, fill in application forms and post it all off, and then get stat decks done saying what I think could have happened to them and all the rest of it. So it's just been a huge drama, and of course I've also have to pay for extra postage because there's a timeline on my changeover qualifications, and so I need them urgently because otherwise the documents that I have will expire. So it's been a really stressful stressful week. I even pulled my car apart looking for them, thinking, well, I've checked out the house 3 times, maybe it's in the car. And so, even pulled apart the seats and boot and everything looking for these things, but no sign of them. And despite what you might think, I'm super organised. I'm one of those nutters that watched Marie Kondo and organised her life, and everything is in its place and organised except for these things that were never unpacked. So I don't know whatever happened to them, but all I know is my colouring book budget has been done for the year on the amount that I've had to pay out to get replacement documents. So anyway, I had to bite the bullet and I had to get it done because otherwise I wouldn't get them replaced in time. So hopefully they'll turn up next week, because until they do, my anxiety is going to be through the roof. Anyway, and so of course, in amongst all this worry, finding my documents, worried about Buddy and everything else, we've also been getting ready for David's family to come up and visit for a time. We haven't seen them since 2020. So yeah, it's been a while, and we were hoping that they would come up for Christmas, and they were planning to, and then there was an outbreak with the pandemic, and they couldn't come and had to cancel. And so then they were going to come up a couple of months ago, and then the same thing happened. It's like every time they plan to come up, something happens. And so this time they were meant to be coming up next week, and we've been racing around trying to finish off all these last minute things and whatnot on the house so it looks really nice for them when they come up. And of course, we spent all this time doing stuff, working in the heat and the pouring rain to get things looking nice. And guess what? They've now cancelled because, again, there's another outbreak in Sydney, and David's mum hasn't been able to get the vaccine as yet, and she really wants to get it before she travels. And she's also got some other health issues that the doctor advised her that she shouldn't travel with until they're a bit better, and she's booked in to see a specialist in a week or so. So she'll just wait until she sees the specialist, and then she's coming up in a month from now. So David's had to rearrange all his holidays at work, and I've had to rearrange all my things, and so yeah, but it does give us more time to fix up some things that we want to do around here and get the garden where we want it to be. So I guess it all has worked out pretty well. And of course, in between all of that, I do have another little project. I'm working on another YouTube channel. Yes, you heard that right. And it's been something I've been thinking about for the last year. So I've finally decided that I'm going to take the plunge and do that. And so that's required quite a little bit of work. So I've been working on that, and I'll tell you what that is all about in maybe a week or so. But I hope that you will join me on the new YouTube channel. This one will still be here. It's not going anywhere. There's no changes. There'll still be colour and chats and reviews. And one of the great things about having to go through all of the stuff that was in storage downstairs means that I have found so many boxes that have to be reviewed written on them of books that I've never actually reviewed. I've probably shown them to you in colouring collection videos, but there is a ton of boxes down there that I've never actually reviewed, and they're just sitting there going, waiting to be reviewed. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks you'll be seeing some of these books that I'll be pulling out of storage. And I've got to say, I don't know whether they'll be favourites or not, because a lot has changed with my moods and who I like and what I like to colour in since the time that I purchased them. But hopefully you might see something that you like or that takes your fancy. So I've done this Maria Trolle picture on speed colouring, and I'm adding this voiceover afterwards, mainly because I'm having a lot of trouble lately finding some quiet time to do audio where I'm not getting a lot of background noise. So that's why this is coming as a speed colouring and an audio afterwards. The colours that I've used for the leaves, they're all the same. I'm just sort of changing around how I apply them. And the tulips, I wanted to look like yellow tulips because I've got some planted in the garden, and I thought that might be a different colour. Yeah, and I'm also going to put some Posca on this and to the spiderweb in Posca. That's my plan. I'm thinking about doing a blue background, but we'll see. Now I'm going to sign off now, and I hope you enjoyed this colour and chat catch up. I would like to spend longer with you, but my sinus is just so bad at the moment and I feel so stuffed up that I don't want you to have to listen to me sounding all cloggy and stuffed up. So I hope you have a lovely day and that you enjoy yourself wherever you are in the world. If you want to take part in a colour along, on my website at Colouring Queen there's the event calendar, and it has a lot of colour alongs listed, including mine, which is a Maria and May colour along celebrating the artwork of Maria Trolle, which she has a ton of colouring books and some postcards as well that you can colour in. She doesn't give away that many freebies, but there are some out there. So that's it from me. Until next time, stay safe and happy colouring.